Religious Rights of Prison Inmates Part 3. In the US, Buddhism is a religion that is still relatively unknown. Therefore, majority of the prisons do not have a Buddhist chaplain, which compounds the problems. The desire to know more about Buddhist religion and to demand special services largely depends upon specific situations and strength of inmate requests. Buddhism is at times misunderstood as idol worship. The right to get Buddhist priest is nevertheless progressing due to litigation and initiative taken by inmates themselves. In the Wisconsin prison system, these efforts have produced good results and the program is doing very well compared to other states. There are 6 teachers who have 11 institutions and they have 1 part-time Buddhist chaplain. Each prison has different rules and variable numbers of inmates are needed to make a request to the authorities to get a Buddhist volunteer. In Ohio prison system, 5 inmates need to make a request. This poses further difficulties. If one inmate places a request for meditation, he risks breaking the no recruitment regulation, and if he tries to get 4 others to join in this request, he is perceived as a troublemaker. Some prisons also have a regulation that to receive visitation or service from religious groups, the inmate must have been a member of that religion prior to incarceration. In California, Buddhist Peace Fellowship has founded prison programs. Still, Buddhist volunteers do not have direct access to California prisons like Christian ministries, because most prisoners are not Buddhist. Therefore, the Buddhist prison program was introduced as offering meditation or stress reduction classes based on whatever a particular administration would tolerate. Another difficulty that the prison program faces is due to the continued indifference to religions except Christianity. In the US, Buddhism is still not recognized religion, and on this ground prison authorities deny the request to have space for a prison chaplain. This creates problem for volunteers who participate in prison program, and most of the time they have to face ridicule and settle for ad hoc bed arrangements. Buddhist volunteers also have to be extremely careful in following rules laid out by prison administration. They have to face the possibility of rejection at every step. Furthermore, one wrong step on their part opens the threat of having the program scrapped in the entire state. These programs are run by individual efforts and sustained as long as individual volunteers have time to devote and convey devotion to make visitation at prison regularly. The differences are significant since Buddhist volunteers do not enjoy institutional support like their Christian counterpart and thus are always in a weak position. Lack of institutional backing also implies that volunteers have to learn about the prison system and its culture on their own and at risk to themselves. They are not permitted to ask any questions of the inmates and to understand the background that led to the incarceration of these people. The prison authorities' indifference towards an alien religion and misunderstanding of its practices creates unbridgeable gulf. In majority of prison system, authorities do not work with the volunteers and help them understand the peculiar situation of their subjects. Consequently, it takes months for the volunteer to build up some kind of rapport with the inmate and individualize the teachings and bring material to address specific problem of the individual. Issues often disrupt regular Buddhist practice among inmates who complete their prison sentence. Some prisons have a rule that religious volunteers cannot have any contact with inmates after they are released. If they do, then the Sangha's privileges of inside visitation is taken away. There are other issues too. Parole of an inmate directly to the Sangha has legal dimensions that scare away some Dharma groups. Inmates who are sex offenders present a very strong challenge to the compassion of Sanghas. When released, these former inmates are often subject to registration statute, which means that neighbors of the Sangha have to be notified. If such an individual were to take up residence at the Dhamma center, this creates liability issues and strains relations with neighbors. My research clearly indicates that in order to get best results, the prison administration needs to be involved. Moreover, correctional personnel themselves require to be trained in Buddhist meditation. As indicated by the survey done after the Tihar Jail project, the staff members who attended Vipassna meditation themselves realized positive benefits. They increased their sense of duty and devotion, developed better relationship with the prisoners. In the US, besides the effort of prison psychologist Dr. John Cavanaugh, the case of Dr. Deborah Marshall is also important. She understood the value of Vipassna program from her prior Buddhist experience. Additionally, her position in prison administration played an important role in introducing Buddhist meditation in the prison system. She took the initiative of bringing her meditation cushion and demonstrating for the staff how to sit in a meditation posture. This generated keen interest among prison staff and helped them understand its value in working with the inmates. Wisconsin prison program can be called a success story in reference to Buddhist prison programs, though it is not perfect yet and a lot more needs to be done. This too was not introduced as a pre-organized program, but began in 1998 at an inmate's request for correspondence and a visit by a Buddhist priest. Reverend Tonin was the first priest to begin this program of prison visits. Now, many different forms of Buddhist meditation, mindfulness practices are offered. They offer programs ranging from an hour to 15 minutes to 2 hours in length, including meditation services, talks, and discussion. This program is still young, though it has paved a path for itself. Still, there is a lot which needs to be done. Please go to part 4.